Hey everyone, so happy that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about preparing for pregnancy. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. We're going to be giving you some tips, some essential oils, some things that may help you, whether you are starting your family or growing your family. All of these are really wonderful ideas. I know sometimes when we talk about pregnancy, we talk about a woman who is already pregnant, right? But that preparatory period is also quite important. We want to make sure that you're feeling healthy, that you are getting rid of toxins, all of those things that are going to make for a really healthy and happy pregnancy. So I've got some things that I want to share with you. I'm super happy that you all are here today. We have some very good information. I think things that we haven't really shared before. And so I'm interested in finding out from all of you, are you, if you can just tell me in the chat, are you interested in, well, you must be interested in the information if you're here, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Do you know anybody who's thinking of becoming pregnant, or are you thinking of becoming pregnant yourself? So either one, give me a Y, just give me a Y in the chat because I really want to see what's going on. And then also if you could tell me what is, are you new here today? Because if you're new here, I really want to know that also. So I'm holding on. Oh, we've got a couple of Ys in the chat. Terrific. Very good. A lot of people hopping on saying yes, yes, yes. So that's a wonderful thing. I know that this information is kind of unusual. It kind of puts the, I don't even want to say it puts the cart before the horse, but it's just our way of saying, you know what, we have to get pregnant. To get pregnant or to have a healthy pregnancy, we want to take a couple of, and we know so much more now, right, than we ever did before. I was watching a TV show the other day, and there was a woman on it. This must have been in the 1940s here in the US. And we know as part of the storyline that she is pregnant, and yes, she's smoking and drinking. I know there were a lot of things that we just didn't know or we didn't heed in those days. So now we're here to find out more, right? And I'm sure several of you know somebody just like that. And I hope for whatever reason, you are now ready to share some new information so our next generation can be as healthy as possible. So this is all about preparing for pregnancy. Obviously, we're welcoming all of you. So happy that you're here today. I'm especially motivated to help you to improve your health in order to achieve your family planning goals. That's my goal for today. Make sure that each and every one of you that's listening to this knows exactly what it is and how to use essential oils in those preparatory months. Because I know some people can get extremely nervous and want to have, take a deep breath, feel really calm. You're in good hands and you're going to find out some great information today. Okay, so preparing for pregnancy. So before you get that positive pregnancy test, like this lady has in her hands, we also know that everyone's biological clock is vastly different. So we know that some people will get pregnant right away. Others may have to take more, let's call it diligent steps to try to achieve their family goals. I was one of the people who had to take a lot of diligent steps. I have been blessed with 2 children, a girl and a boy. And for me, that's a big, big deal. And while they are young adults now, I never forget the fact that it was sort of some of the preparatory things that I did, I think, that helped me to get healthy, to stay healthy, and help me to achieve those 2 pregnancies. And for those of you who maybe are taking heroic measures right now, don't lose hope. There are really things that you can do. And I took some of the methods that are in here, so I'm sharing them with you, and others that are really completely new to me and maybe completely new to you as well. So number 1 on the hit parade is managing stress. That's a really big one. You want to make sure that as you're going into your pregnancy season, if you will, that it can really ratchet down your immune system. It actually can prevent conception altogether. That was one of my biggest problems. I had been not been able to achieve a pregnancy and then was just feeling intense stress. I actually went through a program in those days that was being run by a local hospital, read about it in the New York Times, and they said they were taking volunteers, and I volunteered. And over a 10-week period, we did all sorts of things, everything from meditation to relaxation to listening to different sorts of music. Even laughter was a really big one. And so over that those 10 sessions, we would basically go and attend a session with a registered nurse or a doctor, and then we would, at the end, have our homework to do. And I actually got pregnant with my daughter in about the 3rd week. So my stress level, I imagine, was super high. My cortisol levels were super high. And just being able to take a deep breath really helped me. There were other things that we did, of course. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So stress hormones, things like adrenaline, catecholamines, cortisol, inhibit the release of the body's sex hormones. So GnRH can actually result in suppressed ovulation in women and reduce sperm count in men. So we want to be sure that we're managing our stress. And everybody will say, well, I'm under stress all the time. You may be, but you may have to just ratchet it back if growing your family is actively something that you are pursuing. Some of these hormones can actually suppress libido. So we want to make sure that we are using our fertility as wisely as possible and making sure that we're in the healthiest state of body and mind. So we want to obviously reduce stress. If you're trying to maybe work in a different environment, I personally have found that working independently with doTERRA has been a great stress reducer for me. I set my own hours. I meet with the people that I want to. I'm not obligated to get up in the morning and get on public transportation and ride to an office. So for me, it's been a huge stress reducer. And I hope for those of you that are working with doTERRA full-time, even if you're working part-time, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's that idea that, you know what, this is a better way of living for me. It allows me more time with my family and with my friends. And for me, for my mental and emotional health, really important. And if you're prepping for pregnancy, all of those things, your mind, body, spirit connection are very, very important. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. You are doing some sort of enjoyable exercise routine. Now, this is probably not the time for you to start, I don't know, lifting intensely heavy weights, but obviously things like walking or maybe bike riding or any sort of yoga, but doing it on a regular basis to keep your body healthy and fit. Certainly breathing exercises are a big one. You want to maybe read for pleasure or practice yoga. If you maybe want to journal, I even found that when I was doing this preparatory exercise, for me, laughter was a big one. And I actually watched tons and tons of very funny movies, or movies that I found funny, but I just kind of pursued that whole avenue of reading, watching, listening to things that I found funny so that I could laugh on a daily basis. And I think it really did help me. Now, we also know that many of the tips that I'm giving you today are great for anyone. So laughing on a daily basis, really getting a good chuckle on a daily basis can be very helpful and peaceful for our bodies. It's definitely going to bring down some of those stress hormones. Let's talk a little bit about herbs for stress. Now, I know some of you that I'm talking to are actually in Southeast Asia or Asian countries where herbs are extremely popular. And I want to talk to you about a couple of herbs, but I also want to talk to you about their essential oil counterparts. Many of the products that we use or recommend in doTERRA actually contain some of these very famous, long, widely used herbs. So I want to talk to you about how you can use them and what products you can use to affect your health. So some of the ones you want to try for yourself. One is ashwagandha root, which you may have heard of before. That's in our Mito 2 Max supplement. It helps to regulate thyroid and adrenal gland function. So if you're getting up in the morning, it is a supplement to be taking in the morning. You can be taking your Mito 2 Max. Bee pollen. So you can either be taking bee pollen in little grains, adding into your smoothies. It can boost immunity and fertility. You can be taking some of our oh my goodness, slipped my mind. One of our our honey-related essential oils. Help me out, please. I'm totally drawing a blank. Also can be wonderful for you if you're trying to boost immunity and fertility. Chamomile flowers can act as a mild sedative, which can help to reduce stress, relax the nervous system, and reduce a restful state of mind. Manuka, thank you, Charmaine. Oh my gosh, totally spaced out there. That's right, Manuka can be a wonderful product for you if you're prepping for pregnancy. Roman chamomile is the essential oil, but chamomile flowers, if you've ever had them in tea or you've made a potpourri from them, you can actually purchase chamomile flowers and then add in some additional Roman chamomile oil from our lineup of Roman chamomile, of one of our products. Here's one that's not included, but I want to give you a recommendation. Eleuthero root strengthens the immune system and is a strong adaptogen, which helps the body to better adapt to stressful situations. I would probably use Adaptiv. I would be using their capsules. I would be using the roll-on and the essential oil. If you're uncertain about whether you want to start using a new capsule, at least use the essential oil and the roll-on. They really are going to help you bring down that stress response. Here's a big one, lemon balm, also known as Melissa. Yes, supports a healthy stress response, lessens depressions and feelings of anxiety, anxious feelings. Anytime we feel like, especially women, and I think couples, when they're trying to grow their family and it's not happening as quickly as they would like to, it really can be very stressful. And there's kind of that cycle of, oh, it didn't work, it didn't work, it didn't work. So use your Melissa. It is an expensive essential oil, but really it's one of those essential oils that can help you so much. Use it in your diffuser. You can use it sparingly if you choose. You can drop it underneath your tongue, or you can just put a drop between your two hands and gently breathe it in from your nose and mouth. The other thing that I would suggest is making roll-ons for yourself and applying the roll-ons throughout the day. Linden flower can lower feelings of anxiety or sadness or even sleep issues. And then finally, maca root can nourish the endocrine system. So many of those are in our products, but I wanted to kind of give you the tie-in because for some of you who are living in countries where herbs are really the big thing, that doTERRA does have a whole bunch of products that you can be using to substitute for some of those herbs, because as we know, not every herb is prepared or certified in the way that doTERRA essential oils are. So I want to make sure that you're choosing something that's going to be the most pure and the least toxic for you and for your future baby. Let's talk a little bit about Copaiba. It can support sore muscles and joints. It has a soothing aroma and it's great for the skin. So you want to apply it topically. You can put a couple of drops, let's say of Vetiver and wild orange, so you can promote a restful night of sleep. You can also blend it with Serenity, which is the way I always like to take it. I would take Serenity essential oil, Copaiba essential oil, and I would also take the 2 capsules together, especially if I'm feeling stressed and not able to sleep or just feeling anxious. We want to make sure that you're getting good, healthy sleep and enough of it, right? We want to make sure that you're not sleep deprived, because that's a big one. So it's going to support the cardiovascular system, the immune system, the digestive system. You might be feeling tension in your head, perhaps, or maybe upset stomach, anything that is just bothering you. You want to make sure that you're taking the proper supplements. And I love the antioxidant benefits of Copaiba. So whether you're taking them now or later, and this is something that you could take again later on, Copaiba is super mild. And as you know, it's kind of the substitute for frankincense. I'm going to talk a little bit about frankincense in the next few slides, but consider Copaiba, especially now when you're prepping for pregnancy. The other thing you want to consider is getting yourself to a normal BMI, a normal body weight. So BMI stands for body mass index, yes. And having a low body mass index or a high body mass index can make it difficult for some women to become pregnant. Additionally, it can contribute to complications with pregnancy or delivery. So you want to make sure that your BMI is 25 or lower. And there are tons of BMI calculators online. It's usually a calculation of your height, multiplied by your weight or divided by your weight. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but well worth considering. If you're outside of the normal range, I think the normal range is 18.5 to 24.5 or 24.9. If you're outside of that range, consider bringing yourself into that range with either supplementation or managing your weight any way that you can, because any way that you get yourself within that normal range is going to help you with your pregnancy. Follow an exercise program. Now, it's very tempting to say, I'm not going to exercise now because it's not going to help the baby. Well, that's really not true. Especially if you have been exercising, make sure you continue your exercise routine. Like I said, now is probably not the time for you to pick up a brand new routine. Of course, you're going to be checking with your doctor, but gentle exercise, as you can see here, this lady is on a bicycle, walking, anything that's gentle, indoors or out, are wonderful for our cardiovascular system, even for our moods and for our emotions. So stick with your exercise. 10 to 20 minutes a day are kind of the minimum. Take the stairs more than maybe the elevators. All of that can help. It's interesting. My mother, as many of you know, my mother lives in assisted living, and it is a 3-story building. And the stairways are very wide, and the stairs are just very well placed. It's super easy to run up and down the stairs. I'm often amazed at how few people take the stairs. If I'm with my mother and I need to accompany her in the elevator, of course, I'm not going to say, okay, mom, you take the elevator and I'll take the stairs. That doesn't really work, right? But if I'm alone and I have to run down or grab something from the first floor or run up, I always take the stairs. And I think it's been a lifelong choice for me to do that. And I've always encouraged my kids to do it when appropriate. If you're living in a 50-story building, I don't know if it's quite that easy to take the stairs, but really 10 stories or less, you can get accustomed to taking the stairs on a regular basis. Maria says to remind us that Melissa is the best oil for immunity too. Yes, so you want to make sure that you're staying as healthy as possible. Okay, let's talk now about adaptive roll-on. I mentioned it earlier. You want to apply it to your pulse points for feelings of balance. You can rub your hands together like this, as I said before. Cover your nose and mouth and breathe in. It helps boost your mood. It assists in kind of centering you. So when you have those flyaway thoughts, oh my gosh, how is this going to happen? When is it going to happen? How am I going to resolve this? You can sort of bring your thoughts back into focus again, increases feelings of tranquility, soothes and uplifts, and also reduces feelings of anxiousness and tension. So all of those are very important if we're thinking about preparing for pregnancy. Now, if you are a person who in general tends to be anxious, it might be your time to begin to think that through. I actually was recently talking to a doctor, and she said to me, fascinatingly enough, that our cortisol levels are highest in the morning. I didn't know that. Who knew? And she said, if you're a person who doesn't eat breakfast, your cortisol levels can stay higher for longer. Didn't know that either. So maybe having even a small breakfast may be a way for you to bring down your cortisol levels and kind of relax your system. I have to say, for years and years, I've been kind of a black coffee, vitamins, and water person, but I'm very much considering eating something small in the morning. Now, I do love oatmeal, but I usually eat it later in the day. I'm trying to move it up a little bit. So maybe not when I quite get out of bed, but at least what could basically be called morning, between 8 and 9 o'clock. And actually, right before I got on this call, I had my oatmeal. Talking about eating healthy, and this looks like dry oats. I don't know how you would eat these, but I actually make my oatmeal. I do overnight oats. I make baked oats. Sometimes I make them in a pot with some water or quickly. One of the things you want to make sure that you're getting are enough whole grains. So in this bowl, you can see there's nuts, grains. There's also fruit on the side. There's milk. I'm not a big fan of milk in general, but you can drink things like soy milk or almond milk or other types of milk. If you want to use them in your cooking, when you're cooking your oats, perhaps, or maybe with some sort of other products, or maybe in your beverage, whatever your beverage is for the morning, you want to make sure that you're including a variety of dark leafy greens and other colored vegetables. Don't limit yourself to one vegetable or another. Also include dry beans and legumes. They have amazing amounts of vitamins and minerals, and also protein sources. Things like fish or tofu, eggs, and nuts are excellent, especially when we're trying to become pregnant. You want to be sure that if you are going to eat animal protein, that you're eating it from clean sources. There are many sources out there that are not that clean, so you want to reduce your toxin level. We also know that animal protein can be a repository for many different sorts of chemicals because of our food chains, especially fish. So be mindful when you're eating animal protein. I don't like to recommend it in general. if you are considering getting pregnant. It's just something you want to work with your doctor, but also please be very careful. And then last but not least, are sources of calcium-rich foods. So we want to make sure that we're getting foods with magnesium and calcium in them, and for bone building and also for bone health, because as we go through our pregnancy, ladies, you're going to need your bones and muscles to be really strong because you're going to be carrying a lot of extra weight. In general, the body knows exactly how to adapt. Make sure you're taking in foods that are going to support you in your journey. Okay, some of you, not many of you, but a few of you are or were smokers at one time. Smoking can include things like vaping. If you're thinking of becoming pregnant, both you and your partner should probably be considering quitting. We know it's detrimental to our health. I know that it is not easy to quit, but this is the time, especially if you're thinking of growing your family. The other thing you want to consider is, what's the legacy that you want to leave for your children? Do you want your children to grow up smokers? They're more likely to be smokers if they see you smoking. It's a thing of nature versus nurture. If there's smoke in the house, they're probably going to see that temptation and feel that maybe it's not as strong as maybe they need it to be. The other thing that we know about smoking is that it's related to things like miscarriage, premature birth, and low birth weight babies. Also, chronic cannabis use, for example, can lower sperm count. We just want to be mindful, anything that we're taking in a smoke form. Tobacco use, secondhand smoke can affect your fertility and lower sperm count. So the last thing I just want to talk about, I'm going to touch on briefly, is alcohol. And the influence of alcohol on fertility is not widely understood right now, but research supports that alcohol, specifically in excess, can negatively affect both male and female fertility. We know it can affect libido in different strange ways that maybe we don't know about, or we have witnessed but don't have the data to back up. But we know for a fact that smoking and drinking in excess can be very difficult habits to break. So I want to make sure that you have tips and things that you can use. So what are some of the things that you can do? Of course, you can use things like nicotine gums or patches or whatever, if that's recommended by your doctor. Giving yourself a time or a date to quit, so that you're kind of working up to mentally that that's the date where I'm going to be quitting. Cravings are usually time limited. So there's some sort of a cue that we have. Maybe we eat a certain food or we go to a certain place and we begin to associate that with cigarettes. So replacing a craving with something quickly is often super important. So for short-term cravings, essential oils like black pepper, grapefruit, and peppermint can be particularly helpful. I would recommend the peppermint beadlets or even the On Guard beadlets, because it gives us that oral sensation that we're looking for when we are craving a cigarette or some sort of nicotine. You'll be popping that in your mouth, and it's the rule. I don't know who told me this. Maybe it was being a Weight Watchers leader many years ago, that if you brush your teeth, your body senses, okay, I don't want to put anything else in there in my mouth to mess up that clean, fresh feeling. Same thing is true with our peppermint beadlet. So use your essential oils widely if you're struggling with giving up any sorts of addictions or products that you feel are just not healthy for you. You want to limit your toxin exposure. Now, I know in general, many of us don't use perfumes anymore. We've heard over and over again, if you're a long-term user of essential oils, you've probably dropped most, if not all, of your perfume use. But some of us, and maybe some of you that are listening to this on YouTube, may still be using commercial perfumes. There's no doubt that many commercial perfumes can affect human health in a number of ways. So number one is, excuse me. Wow, my shirt is really looking kind of wild there on the camera. I don't know what's going on there. We can't avoid all toxins, but we can avoid some. So synthetic fragrances are a big one. They do contain harmful chemicals and alcohols, resins that we really cannot test for. How they interact with other products is also a big question mark. We want to choose BPA-free products. So those would be our plastic products, our cans, anything that we're going to use for food, to put our food in. BPA is a chemical that leaches into our food and is a known carcinogen and also a neurotoxin. We want to make sure that our children are not exposed to it. We want to choose chemical-free and personal care products. when we can. I use all of the doTERRA personal care products, but you may be looking for, I don't know, a lipstick, right? Which doTERRA doesn't carry. Make sure that you're looking for something in your health food store that's going to have many, many fewer toxins. And also tossing makeup products that contain things like parabens, sodium lauryl sulfate, or even mercury. There are a lot of face makeup products that actually contain really not great toxins. Sometimes hard to find the list of chemicals that's actually in there, but in many countries, it's now become a requirement that if you are producing something that's going to be used on the skin, you must provide the ingredient list. So read your ingredient list carefully. And I know it takes time sometimes to make that switch from whether it's commercial perfumes to pure fumes, as we like to call them in doTERRA, but it's well worth your while, and you'll begin to feel your body really just detoxify slowly but surely over time. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, let's talk a little bit about endocrine disruptors. So many of the products that I just mentioned to you are endocrine disruptors. Many fertility problems are linked to an overabundance of estrogen in the body. Many of our commercial products do contain fake estrogens. We want to make sure that we're not ingesting, and really we're ingesting it by putting on our skin, right? Maybe you're not eating your body lotion, but you may be unwittingly putting something on your skin that's going to be toxic for you. Another thing, a big one now during summertime, are spray tans and instant tans and tanning products. I know it's tempting. We don't want to be out there in the sun looking like, I don't know what, like a ghost, but it's really not healthy for us. So make sure you're using products that are healthy. Excess estrogen can be used, can cause problems with menstruation and with puberty, endometriosis, many other problems that are associated with female hormone disrupted issues. So especially if you're prepping for pregnancy, you want to make sure that you put all those products aside and use things that are purely natural. As I mentioned before, I'm using the doTERRA products for my skincare, for my lotions. And while that's maybe a whole other issue, if I went into that, we'd have I don't even know, a 2-hour presentation as opposed to sort of what is usually about 30 to 40 minutes. But please make sure you're exploring some of those, because the doTERRA products, I have to tell you, I love them. They're really wonderful. Everything from the body butters to our unscented lotions, and now some of our new abode products, just really, really wonderful. If you've had a chance to try any of our newer products, and Teresa is reminding me that doTERRA is coming out with new sun products in June, which will make it a little bit easier for you to go outside and get natural vitamin D just from being outdoors in the sun. Don't want to go out in the sun for long periods of time without any skin protection. That's probably not the wisest, but our new sun products will be a really wonderful boon for your health. So if you have ditched a product or 2 or 3 or more, tell me how many you think you have ditched from your lifestyle, and maybe products that you know were endocrine disruptors. Did you ditch 1, 2, 3, or maybe 20 or more? Let me know in the chat. Give me a number. I want to find out who's been dumping their problem products. And maybe you didn't dump them yesterday. That's okay. I dumped mine a long time ago, but there was a point that I remember looking through my products and going, oh my word, look what this has in here. So Anna says she stopped using perfumes and commercial deodorants. Fabulous. And Maria says new product, Malama, Mer Touch, and Vetiver Touch. Okay, so I guess you're using all of those. So who has dumped artificial products? And if you've dumped a product, give me a number of what you estimate. How many products do you think you've dumped? I'm actually going to hold on for a second because I want to make sure that everybody knows. You can tell me what the product is, or you can give me a number of how many products. And with personal products, I would say things like shampoos, body lotions, deodorants, conditioners, all of those, super important when we go to a more natural product. Our skin, our body, our mind, our emotions are all gonna thank us. Okay, let's keep going. Let me give you a couple of recommendations also for calming and grounding. Angie says, my husband stopped using deodorant. I changed my facial wash and toner, and my kids using shampoo and conditioner. Fabulous. And Lisa says 3 perfumes, lotion, and deodorant. Great. That's wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about Vetiver. It has calming and grounding effect on the emotions. It also has a warm, sweet, woody, and earthy aroma. And Vetiver's nickname is fragrance of the soil or oil of tranquility. Now, I don't use Vetiver on a daily basis, but I use it absolutely when I need to sleep. It is my go-to 100%. I've mentioned on here many times that I blend Serenity, Copaiba, and Vetiver together, and I either use it in roll-on or I take Serenity capsules, Copaiba capsules, and 1 to 4 drops of Vetiver in an empty gel cap. And that is my, I am down for the count. Once I've had that, it just relaxes me, grounds me, makes me feel wonderful. I get into bed and I just feel peaceful and I really want to sleep. You can roll the new Vetiver onto your wrist, temples, neck. You can really put it anywhere that you want to. You can put it on the crown of your head. It's going to condition and hydrate the skin. Vetiver has been used traditionally in many healthcare and beauty care products. So use your Vetiver essential oil. If it's not the right oil for you, right scent for you, perhaps blend it with either flower oil or a citrus, or maybe even both, a flower, a citrus, and Vetiver. Delicious. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. Mentioned BPA before. I want to talk a little bit about BPA. BPA has been linked to reduced egg quality as well as hormonal imbalances. Many countries have begun to drop BPA products, but many still, including here in the US. It's really tricky. You have to really check. Reusable water bottles and food storage containers are the 2 biggest ones that still contain BPA. It's also found in epoxy resins and protective linings for metal and food beverage cans. So just be mindful, folks, if you are a person who uses different sorts of containers, check your labels, make sure it says BPA free. BPA has gained a lot of global attention as a contaminant and owing to widespread exposure and endocrine disrupting properties. So many people are beginning to realize, oh yeah, this is not something we want to really be in contact with. The other thing that you want to remember is it is in many of those receipts that we get at restaurants. So that kind of slippery paper that we get sometimes when they come to have you pay the check and they say, sign this, and the paper rolls up right away, that's usually treated with BPA. So never, ever like hang around with that, hold it in your hand, stick it in your mouth. Believe me, I've seen everything, but just make sure that's another thing that you know. So we want to opt for stainless steel, glass, or ceramic water bottles and food containers, and be mindful of plastic wraps for food and plastic containers for food, and store our food in glass whenever possible, or ceramic, of course. And then look for BPA free on any labels of food containers that we may be buying. Okay, frankincense. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is really the big one. You know that it supports healthy cellular function. It is good to use from the beginning to the end. I really feel like from your baby years to pre-pregnancy, all through your pregnancy, this is the essential oil that you want to have with you because it does so many things. It's great for bumps and bruises and emotions and for just relaxation, grounding. If you have a special use for frankincense, tell me in the chat, but I have to say it's just a wonderful product and I can't get enough of it, and I use it every single solitary day, whether it's in the roll-on or the drops right out of the bottle. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about detoxification. I know I'm talking a lot about it, but I think it's really important. I've got 4 chemicals that I want you to look for if you're still continuing to use traditional products. Number 1 is parabens. This is commonly found in deodorant, shampoo, soaps, toothpaste, even lipsticks. If you're using traditional products, all of these are hormone disruptors. Phthalates, mostly in liquid body products, because they keep the products liquidy. They don't allow them to separate. They have been linked to birth defects. So if you are considering becoming pregnant, this is a product you want to avoid. Methylbenzaldine, known as 4-MBC. harmful endocrine disruptor. And finally, triclosan, which is, as we know, a antibacterial, still found in some soaps, toothpaste, and mouthwash. Is really tricky. Now, it has been banned finally in the United States, but you can still find it in some products. I know if I go to certain stores or discount stores and they have old products there, they will still have triclosan in there. Just very tricky. Be careful, especially if you're trying to prep for pregnancy. Now, let's talk a little bit about supplements. I'm talking about, you want to make sure that the alpha CR, that the products that we're taking are going to support the supplements for egg health. Obviously, this means the eggs that are going to be fertilized, that are in the woman. Number one on the hit parade is coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10, which is in our alpha CRS. Wonderful product. It has great antioxidant power, mitochondrial function to improve the quality of eggs. And as usual, we're recommending 2 capsules twice a day. So just take your alpha CRS. It's a wonderful product. Melatonin. Now, interestingly enough, we don't have a product that's melatonin alone, but cedarwood essential oil supports healthy function of the pineal gland that's in the brain. And the pineal gland is the one which releases melatonin. So if you're interested in getting a good night's sleep, use your cedarwood. Melatonin boosts antioxidants to encourage healthy ovarian function and aid in sleep. And then finally, our XE Omega, our fish oil, can help produce higher quality eggs and help reproductive function in an advanced maternal age. So if you're over a certain age, usually that age is about 32 to 35, you want to make sure that you're taking your XE Omega as well, which contains your which contains your EPA and DHA. Folic acid is important, also contained in our Microplex VMZ. Many doctors will accept our 3-pack as a substitute for prenatal vitamins. Try it. Ask your doctor, would you be willing to accept these vitamins as a prenatal? And I've known many pregnant women who've taken them throughout their pregnancies. Check with your doctor, but yes, it has been done before. Okay, why am I recommending peppermint? Because you may be saying, no, I should not be taking peppermint. Peppermint is wonderful in your pre-pregnancy times. After you become pregnant, I want you to check with your doctor. Some doctors will accept it, some doctors will not. But in your pre-pregnancy, absolutely, peppermint is a wonderful essential oil. Things like stomachache, heartburn, you don't want to be taking any over-the-counter medications. Use your peppermint wisely. It can also help you. You may be taking some sort of medications or going through difficult conversations with your doctor or with your partner. Use your peppermint to kind of relax yourself, bring yourself up into that next higher state. It really is a wonderful essential oil, as you know. Let's talk about some supplements to boost male fertility. You want to make sure that you're taking your vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is great for everyone, but vitamin D is found in several of our dōTERRA products, including our new Omega chewables. So get your vitamin D, adequate zinc, which is in our Microplex VMZ. And we want to make sure that our gentlemen and our ladies are equally healthy. I would recommend either the daily nutrient pack for anyone who is considering pregnancy, male and female. We want to make sure that everybody's getting the supplements that they need. Okay, let's talk about boosting blood flow, right? We want to make sure blood flow is adequate for the child, for you, and for the future health of your baby. You can do some exercises, anything that's stretching, chiropractic, yoga, reclining, putting your feet up. All of those things will increase the circulation to your body. We want to make sure we've got wonderful circulation in our bodies as we prepare for our pregnancies. Lavender essential oil goes without saying. I mean, I feel like lavender is for everything. If I included every lavender in almost every presentation, the presentations would be double the length. But honestly, the wonderful thing about lavender, though, is lavender and frankincense. You can use them now. You can use them through your pregnancy and on your baby later. So if you're counseling young moms, anybody out there, please make sure that they understand that this is one of the safest, most wonderful products that they can use. Figure out when you ovulate. That's another important one. You may be working with your doctor or with another healthcare professional, but ovulation obviously is critical for us to become pregnant and to deliver a healthy baby. See your dentist. This is a big one. Did you know that the bacteria that's in your mouth can also be in the rest of your body? So we want to make sure that we have healthy teeth and gums. Make sure that that bacteria that's between our teeth is cleaned out of there. Some of these seem like a little bit unusual, like see your dentist become pregnant. It really can help. Honestly, I would do anything. I remember when I went through the program that I did, my husband said, well, what are they going to make you do? And I said, really, I don't care. If they make me stand on my head or smell funny things, I'm fine with it as long as I wind up pregnant. And I guess maybe that was kind of the best attitude. I wouldn't have done anything scary or weird, but anything to just kind of relax the body and put it in a great state of health, you're on the right track. Okay, consider acupuncture. If you have never done acupuncture, and this is kind of a weird picture because she's got a needle right on her nose, you may find relaxation and detoxification through using acupuncture. I did use acupuncture briefly, and I have used it on and off throughout my life. I think it's an amazing modality. Here in the United States, it's very often not paid for by insurance, which is a little tricky because it can be expensive. If you've used acupuncture, please let me know. I've got a couple of other comments in the chat. Let me know, have you used acupuncture? And if you did you like it? The needles are super thin, and I've gone there for different sorts of reasons and always had really good results. I think I've had a great acupuncturist. She's right here in New Jersey, but just a wonderful lady, and just it's a great modality. Try it if you haven't already. Okay, breathe essential oil. Now, breathe is one of those oils that you might say, why do you need this for prepping for pregnancy? Part of the reason why is that we tend to hold our breaths if we're nervous. Also, if we're not sleeping soundly, maybe we're snoring, maybe our noses are clogged because of pollution or outdoor air contaminants. Where I'm living, it is springtime. We've got a lot of pollen and things flying out in the air. My nose is always clogged. Actually, yesterday I was driving in the car with my husband, and he was sort of driving and breathing like this. I looked over at him and I said, why are you breathing like that? And he said, oh, because my nose is completely clogged. Pollen. But if you're trying to become pregnant, you want to make sure that you're very well oxygenated. Angie says she did use acupuncture. Yes, about 8 years ago for pregnancy, which is 8 years ago. And love is love. I think that's what that is. That's cute. And she says she does acupuncture for a concern that she has, a physical concern. Okay, last but not least, I've got a couple last tips for you, some oils, and you may want to, I'm going to add these into the chat, but I want to make sure that as a future mom, just love this bouquet of flowers. These are the type of oils that you're using on a regular basis. Frankincense to stimulate calm relaxation and good night's sleep. Geranium to promote a positive mood. Your Roman chamomile for calm and relaxation and a good night's sleep. Ginger for any stomach upset you may be having. Your Roman chamomile that we talked about already. Lavender, of course. Lemon to improve your mood. Neroli to calm and relax and a good night's sleep. And you can continue to use your neroli roll-on throughout your pregnancy. Patchouli can improve your mood. Petitgrain can stimulate calm relaxation and also a good night's sleep. Rose, the granddaddy of them all, right? Or the grandmama of them all. Okay, sandalwood and wild orange. All of these are wonderful oils for you to use as you're prepping for pregnancy. I'm going to add all of these in. Whoops. And many of them can be used in your first months of pregnancy when you first you get that great news. It's so exciting. Oh my goodness. Okay, fertility smoothies. This is a kind of an interesting one. If you're having difficulty because you're concerned about what you're eating and so on, smoothies, making smoothies and just blended drinks really are a wonderful way for you to add additional nutrition into your body as you're going through these pre-months. You can add things like fiber, or you can add berries, almond milks, or different sorts of non-cow's milk. I'm trying to think of the word, vegetable milks, vegetarian milks. I don't know what they're calling them, maybe protein powders or maca root powder or powdered greens. You can add in your bee pollen in there. You can even take one of your essential oils and use it as flavoring. Smoothie is a wonderful way to get easily digestible nutrition on a regular basis. And then finally, I've got some last minute tips for you. You want to, of course, limit stress, look at your supplements, maintaining your healthy BMI, exercising, limiting your exposure to toxins. All of those things are going to help you in the long run and as you prepare for your pregnancy. I've got some references here for you. I'm going to add them into the chat, and they'll be in the show notes as well if you're watching this on YouTube. Whoops. Okay, we're going to be adding those a little bit later. And finally, just thank you for having been here. For all of you who are starting your families or building your families, I'll be keeping you in my prayers. Good luck. I think it's such an exciting time. It really is. And that moment you find out, yes, and in the meantime, keep yourself healthy, stay really centered and balanced. I know that this can be a very tricky time. We're also coming up on Mother's Day fairly soon here in the US, and that can be kind of a reminder maybe that we haven't started our family yet. But don't lose hope, stay in there, and you're gonna be just right. You're in the right place. Thanks again for having been here. Please follow and consider subscribing right here on YouTube, but also on our Instagram and Facebook pages. We're constantly posting more tips and tricks. And remember, you're really amazing. You're amazing for having been here. And also thank you for just being open to different ideas and tips and tricks every single week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Okay, everyone. We are I guess we're in the home stretch now. We're at the end of April. Next week, we're going to be talking about monthly specials and also giving you some Mother's Day tips. I know it's going to be a few days before Mother's Day here in the US. Mother's Day is May 8th. For those of you who are on live, please stay on because we're going to give you away a wonderful prize today. But for those of you who are on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Please hit the subscribe button below and click ringing the bell so that you get notifications each and every time we have a new video available for you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye now.